Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. The verse that we're going to discuss today is from Surah Shura, and this is actually these are four verses from 40 to 43, and the title that I've given to them is Forgiveness or Forgiving Others. The text of the Quran reads, وَجَزَاءُ سَيِّئَةٍ سَيِّئَةٌ مِثْلُهَا فَمَنْ عَفَا وَأَصْلَحَ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الظَّالِمِينَ وَلَمَنِ انتَصَرَ بَعْدَ ظُلْمِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَا عَلَيْهِم مِّن سَبِيلٍ إِنَّمَا السَّبِيلُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يَظْلِمُونَ النَّاسَ وَيَبْغُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ وَغَفَرَ إِنَّ ذَلِكَ لَمِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. And the revenge of an evil is an evil equal to it. Yet he who forgave and reconciled, his reward rests with God. Indeed, he does not like wrongdoers. And those who take revenge after they were oppressed, then there is no blame on them. The blame is only on them who oppress people and are rebellious in the land without justification. It is for these people for whom there is a grievous penalty. And indeed, he who exercised restraint and forgave, then this is from among the matters of resolve. So, dear viewers, as you can see, the Quran has very effectively put across this point that as far as taking revenge is concerned, if you have been hurt by someone, if someone has damaged you in any way, then you can take an equal amount of revenge. This is something which will never be called an oppression. It will not be called something of a wrongdoing. However, the Quran urges us that if we are able to forgive people in spite of the harm they have caused us, in spite of the evil that they have done to us, then the Quran says that this is much more rewarding. And as you can see, the words are فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. A person who forgave other people, in spite of the fact that the person whom he forgave was the person who had really done something wrong. The Quran says, if you forgive such a person, وَأَصْلَحَ, and you reconcile that with that person, and you try to make peace with that person, the Quran says, فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ, then the reward of such a deed rests with God. God is going to amply reward a person who is going to forgive others. So forgiveness, my dear viewers, is something that we need to practice. It is something that does not come to us very naturally. We have to make an effort for that, but then we have to realize that this is something that we have to work for. We have to realize that forgiveness is something that we always want from God. So if we want forgiveness from God, I think it is but natural to forgive other people and make ourselves worthy of being forgiven. So to forgive, to forego, and forget, these are some beautiful principles of a collective life. Yes, there are instances in which you just cannot forgive a person for the evil that he has caused you, for the consternation that he has caused you, and you think that such a person must be avenged. Yes, that is something that can be done. And there are people who are incorrigible. There are people with whom, until you really take revenge from them, they will never mend their ways. So there are exceptions, and precisely for this reason, the Quran has left us with this choice that if you want, yes, you can take revenge, but it has urged us that if you forgive that person, if you show that magnanimity of your heart, if you are gracious enough to let that fault go, and all that you do is just meet that person with a smiling face, not only forgive him, but as you can see from other places in the Quran, that you are good to that person. You forgive him from your heart, and at the same time, you do what is good to that person. You communicate that person in a way that the person realizes that this person, in spite of being afflicted with such a bad thing from me, he is still smiling when he sees me. So this is what the Quran says, in Nazalika Lamin Azbil Umur. This is something which is really, really a matter of great determination. It's a matter of great resolve. So you see, the Quran says that people who oppress other people without any justification, are rebellious in the land, they are the people who blame, not people who avenge a mistake that was committed against them, or a sin that was committed against them. And for such people who are unjustifiably arrogant and rebellious in the land, the Quran says, Ulaika lahum azabun alim. For them there is a grievous penalty. But then it says at the end, وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ وَغَفَرَ إِنَّ ذَلِكَ لَمِنْ أَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ, that if you are able to show patience, exercise restraint, then this is something, I mean, as a result of this restraint, you are able to forgive that person. Then Almighty says that this is a matter of great resolve. One thing that you might have noticed in this verse is that forgiveness is actually held in tandem with patience. So it is patience that makes you a forgiving person. Otherwise, if we are impatient, we immediately react, we immediately or impulsively show our response. That forgiveness is going to come much later, and maybe after our own impulsive reaction has caused a lot of harm. So forgiveness and patience, they go hand in hand with one another. If you are patient with the other person, if you know that whatever has happened because of a certain reason, and come what may, you have to be at the giving end. You have to be a person who is going to magnanimously show your forgiveness. Then it becomes easier for you to forgive other people.